Thank you for the introduction. My name is Payal Godhani. I'm Principal Engineer at Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. I lead a DevOps service. And today we are going to talk about Kagent. I think our keynote speaker did mention Kagent, so we are going to dive a little bit deeper into it. Imagine this situation. I got paged one time at 2 a.m. into the night saying that our customers are not able to talk to our service. So we hopped on a call. Anyone who has been in the cloud provider, they would know it's a SEP2 call. You have to hop on a call, and you ask these questions. Okay, so what happened? What changed? And the person on the other side says, nothing changed. We didn't change anything. That's the standard answer you tend to get most of the times, right? Okay, so did you do any deployment recently that caused any issue? Answer was no. Okay, the very next step, okay. Can you show me the logs from the cluster that I can go ahead and debug? And the answer is no. Okay, well, I'm like that. I lost my sleep right there. And I was like, why? Why can't you show me the logs? And they say, oh, this is the US National Security Gov region, and we can't show you the logs. Can you share your screen? No, that we can't do that as well. So then how do you debug? That becomes a lot of challenge. And that's a sad reality for a lot of folks. That call lasted for 6 hours. But at that point, I was thinking about a new exciting tool that has come up, that is Kagent. I don't know if many people have known about this, but it's actually reimagining how someone can debug, operate, and manage the cloud operations. And yeah, we'll talk about this one. So this, it is just, CNCF announced that this is a sandbox project as of 2025. Most of the cloud native providers, they are using Kubernetes in one form or the other, right? But this is the very first open source AI agentic framework that I have seen and I have used in the production. And it has been extremely useful. It is backed by Solo.io. And now it has gotten a lot of attention from the cloud native world. And it is one of the projects that is bridging the gap between the AI innovation and the cloud native operations. Yeah, as I was saying, it is the very first Kubernetes native AI agent framework, which means this AI agent is sitting right into those Kubernetes cluster. It is not something that is bolted outside from the cluster. The agents are written in the declarative YAML framework in manifest that everyone is already aware of, and it is built on open standards like model context protocols, agent-to-agent protocols, and the Google's agent development kit, which is easily extendable with custom agents. You can bring your own custom agent, or you can make your own custom agents with whatever out-of-the-box tool agents that it has. So it's not just a research project, even though it's a sandbox project today, it's production ready. And I think they also their enterprise version. It has the observability that one needs, the security, and the scalability is built in. Yeah, as most of you would have understood, Kagent is for Kubernetes plus agent. So this is what goes under the hood. There is a Kubernetes controller native and managing the agent CRDs. The engine is the Python app running the agent conversation loop. There is a CLI that one can use for the quick interaction, and a dashboard for visual monitoring. The coolest part here is the agent-to-agent protocol that enables the multi-agent collaboration, which means the agents are not working in silos. They are collaborating with each other, talking to each other, and solving the complex operations. Yeah, today it ships with pre-packaged agents and tools for the CNCF ecosystem. Out of the box, we can connect to the Kubernetes for the resource management, for troubleshooting any YAML configuration, Prometheus for its matrix, Argo for the GitHub workflows, Istio for service mesh debugging, Helm for the chart management, GitHub for CI/CD, and there are more tools that is getting added in this. Yeah, so this is what the dashboard looks like over there. If you can see, there are multiple agents that are running, and you can also configure one of your own by just dragging and dropping few ones that you need. Yeah, while you're working with Kagent, one of the crucial things that I noticed was whenever you ask some sort of questions, it will give you answers, but it will also kind of narrate what arguments did it provide and how did it land up to that answer. This transparency is very crucial for the trust, because if AI is running part of our infrastructure, we need to see why it is making the choice and why it is answering in the way it is. Yeah, as I was saying, it is the tools that Kagent is built on. It is based on the model context protocol, which means that any tool that has compatibility with MCP, it can be easily plugged into that. So they are not building a walled garden. It is essentially an ecosystem, and it will grow, and there will be a lot of tools that we will see that will get plugged into the Kagent. Yeah, technically speaking, the MCP uses the JSON RPC2 for structured communication. So everything is super predictable and reliable. It supports like both local communication, STDIO, and the remote communication with HTTP events and the server-side events. And every tool that it is being used, it's very self-describing. It declares its capabilities and parameters upfront to the agent, so the agent exactly knows what exactly they can do before they try to use them. Now, what kind of tools it could probably be? Like for Kubernetes, you can access the pod logs, you can write Prometheus queries, the Grafana dashboards, trace analysis, right? Yeah, let's go. And the agents that are being used over here, these agents can do complex reasoning. And like they can break a complex task. For example, like a Helm chart. And if the Helm chart, we had one situation where the pods provisioned by Helm were not coming up. And the reason why they were not coming up was because the tag of the image that was used by the pods wasn't specified. But when we gave this question to Kagent, the Kagent was able to exactly point out which deployment YAML had that tag missing and at which line. Imagine a situation where you have this production workload, there are so many deployments going on, so many deployment YAMLs, but if someone is able to figure that out and tell you the exact line where someone has to change, it becomes so much easier for those SREs. And yes, just like I was saying, for the enterprise, if it's cool, it doesn't mean it is going to fit the use case. It needs to have the proper security, the compliance that it needs, manage the credential properly, and also the identity management is super crucial. But Kagent does support all of those as well. Now let's go through a demo quick. Yeah, so here we have a Redis server that is running with Prometheus agent that we have configured over here. I'm just running a simple benchmark that is allocating memory, and it's slowly increasing the memory. We are trying to create the memory pressure over here one by one. This is what the Kagent dashboard looks like if you see closely, right? And we are asking a bunch of questions in the simple normal natural language, and let's see what it answers. My first question is, what is the memory consumption of the Redis demo master 0 pod? And this is with the Prometheus agent. It's thinking, yeah. And if you see, it has come back with an answer, and it exactly said that the Redis demo master 0, these are the bunch of containers that are running, and this is the exact memory consumption of each of those. Right? And it will also prompt you for another question if you want to ask. Yep. Let's see what the next. So it will be able to ask, give you any answer at the cluster level, at the pod level, at the resource level. Now we are asking which Redis pods are currently using the most memory on the entire cluster. If you see those arguments, right, if you expand those, you will also be able to see what is the exact query that it has fired. It takes some while and it comes back and says, hey, this is the pod that is consuming the most amount of memory. Looks like the pressure that we were trying to create hasn't built up. This is the CRD that is taking the most amount of memory at this point. It's 379 MB. Okay, sorry. This one. Yep. The very next question is, are there any Redis pods right now that are not ready? So you can ask so many different types of questions at the availability level. Also, it will scan all those pods and come back with an answer on saying if anything is down. This would be super useful in production level scenario. Right now it says, hey, none of the pods are not ready. Everything is up and running. Let's fast forward a little bit. Now we are trying to ask, is any of the Redis pods facing any memory pressure at this point? Let's see what's the answer. It takes a while, and it comes back saying, hey, looks like there is no memory pressure built on any right now. Now we'll compare the memory usage of across the entire cluster and give us the rank on which is consuming the most. Yeah, if you see, it has come back with a sequence and telling the CRD1 seems to be consuming the most amount right now as well. At the cluster level, now we are asking what percentage of the total cluster memory is getting occupied by the Redis pods. It fires the appropriate queries and come back within few seconds, as you can see. I can't see probably, but hopefully you guys can. Yep, it's close to 930 MB. Let's go to the next one. Is Redis demo master 0 being throttled by CPU or by memory? It does say there is some level of CPU throttling that is going on, and it gives a detailed answer, as you can see. These all questions would be super useful during outage time, during any large-scale event when the SREs are out there working on your cluster and trying to figure out answers to these questions rather than going through those tricky Prometheus and Grafana dashboards. Even though you have alerts configured, we may not have alerts for every single event that is happening. The second question looks like it's which container inside this is consuming the most amount of memory? Cool, it got back with the answer. Skip this one, let's go to the another question and see. Now I'm trying to ask, were there any failures of out-of-memory killed events in the pods that you are seeing? Instead of going through those painful logs, if we are able to get these answers quickly, it is so much faster and it reduces the time to debug any particular issue. It was able to go through the kubectl event log and gives me a conclusive answer that, hey, I didn't find any of such events that was happening. Let's fast forward a little bit. Were there any recent events or failures in this pod? It says there was a recent termination in that pod, right? So here we are trying to do a debug and trying to understand, was there any significant event that could have led to a certain scenario? And you can go on asking a bunch of questions and drill down further to the root cause of an issue. Sometimes if it doesn't know the exact one, it will tell you the commands that you can run onto your cluster, which is also helpful, like this one, right? Like these commands, and someone can go and run onto that cluster exactly knowing what to look for and how to go ahead with the debug. Now we are trying to ask, were there any resource usage spikes for this pod or any restarts that we have encountered? And it says, looks like there have been no restarts in this event. You are trying to basically ask all different sort of questions to come down to bottom of the issue over here. Now, I'm trying to ask, let's look at the memory usage of each of these pods right from the start of the lifetime, and it will go and try to give me, it will give me actually the exact usage for the entire life of those pods running in this cluster. Yep. Similarly, we have another scenario right now, where I'm just creating a bunch of Redis connected clients, increasing it, creating pressure, and trying to see what is the exact analysis that it tries to do. Like in this case, it tells me that there are about 200 clients connected to one Redis pod. This is the Prometheus graph, and if you see, it is exactly correct. Not this one, yeah. Yep, there you go. It's almost at the 200 point, right? And it also tells that the other Redis demo pods doesn't have that many connected clients. Yep, that one. The question. And it tells, yeah, here also it is trying to tell us the memory scenario, where how much memory is getting consumed. And if you want to get description of any particular pod, it will also tell you the pod, whether it has been created as part of a stateful set, when it was created, what is the pod IP, if it is missing anything. Yep, these sort of matrices is very helpful. Yeah, just like this is a Prometheus agent, right? Similarly, you can plug in a Helm agent, an Istio agent, and any other agents you like. We are just exploring one agent at this point. And you can also bring in your own custom agents if you have defined that to Kagent, and also configure multiple agents together for your scenario and for your use case. Yep. Yeah, here it is trying to enlist all the CPU usages of the pods that were running. And these are the queries that you can, as I was saying earlier, it will tell you the exact arguments on what it is querying to your cluster to retrieve those answers, which helps in building the trust. Yep. Yeah, that was the side of demo that I wanted to show. Just for the sake of popularities, it has been growing, it has been getting quite few traction in the cloud native world, and it just crossed like 1,000 plus GitHub stars in 100 days, and they do have weekly calls, contributor spotlights, and a very active community if someone wants to join. It's an excellent product to be part of. It is definitely helping us in a lot of our production scenarios, and we are still exploring a lot of different use cases in which it could help us. Yeah, just leaving a bunch of details in case anyone is interested in it. Yeah, that's my time. Thanks.
We are still way ahead, so if anybody has questions, we can take questions.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, we got another one over here. Where are all my blue shirts that are supposed to be carrying microphones around? They're all happy. I say next to a person with a blue shirt.
Hi, you gave an example earlier where you talked about how you were in a long support call because you couldn't get information like logs from someone. I imagine that in the sort of machine learning space, there's an analog where that same troubleshooting information can't be sent to a public chat like Gemini or something along those lines.
Right.
What does that most often look like in the sort of federal space? Is that something getting sent to a Llama or a Llama CPP? Like where does the large language model live to allow for that sort of closed ecosystem?
Closed ecosystem. So one is the proprietary one. You can use a proprietary model inside your space to ask this question, when it is not connected to any public cloud, just a private Kubernetes cluster that you can deploy in. You don't have to be using or talking to the public cloud, and it does support those ones also. Since it is using Google's agent development kit, you are not logged into any particular OpenAI framework such. You can use any Hugging Face model, deploy it to or any local Llama 2 model, deploy it onto your private cluster and get it running.